It's funny how we often view the past with rose-tinted glasses. But then you delve into something like Dickens's Oliver Twist, which is what we're looking at today, based on all the fascinating sources you've shared. And those glasses shatter pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Right from the get-go, Dickens confronts us with the grim reality of poverty in 19th century London. The workhouse, as he describes it, offered this wonderful choice, right? Starve slowly inside, or leave and starve quickly outside. Not much of a choice, is it?
No, not at all. It's a stark and unsettling reality, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're going to explore in this deep dive.
We're not just going to rehash the plot points, we're going deeper.
Right. We're going to examine the key events in Oliver Twist's early life, but through this specific lens of 19th century societal forces.
Exactly. We want to understand what shaped his destiny, what made him who he was.
Precisely. And through that, we can glean insights into the broader issues of poverty and social injustice of that era.
All without getting bogged down in every single detail of this massive novel.
Exactly. We're aiming for a focused exploration. We'll follow Oliver's journey from his birth in that bleak workhouse.
Then on to the horrors of Mrs. Mann's baby farm, his time under the parish, his arrival in, the daunting streets of London.
And of course, his fateful encounter with Fagin's gang.
So let's jump right in. Let's unpack those grim beginnings, shall we?
Right from the start, Oliver's birth in that unnamed workhouse sets the stage. I mean, even his birth is shrouded in this anonymity, this hardship.
You get the feeling that something's not quite right.
Absolutely. That cynical remark from the doctor, old Sally's secretive behavior with the bottle, it hints at a system that just doesn't care.
And maybe something even darker going on.
It's not just about a lack of resources, right? It's a deliberate system designed to dehumanize and control the poor.
Like their suffering was their own fault, something inherent in them.
Precisely. And then you have a fate of Oliver's mother, found dead in the street, no wedding ring. The doctor just dismisses it as the same old story.
It's chilling, isn't it? Shows you the societal attitudes toward unmarried mothers.
The assumptions made about their lives, it's heartbreaking. Her dying wish was simply to see her child.
And Dickens just rips away any chance of a better life, just like that.
Almost as if being born into poverty was a life sentence. There's this fascinating detail. Oliver is born wrapped in a fine blanket.
Oh, right. Almost like a hint at a better past, maybe?
Exactly. But then immediately he's dressed in those rough, worn-out workhouse clothes. He becomes a workhouse child.
Doomed to be kicked along through the world, as Dickens puts it.
Powerful imagery, right? It shows how rigidly social status defines you from the moment you were born. And don't forget the context, right?
The lack of rights for women back then.
Exactly. Severe social stigma, practically no legal protections. It made women and their children incredibly vulnerable.
And then we have Mrs. Mann's baby farm. Sounds almost pleasant, doesn't it?
Deceptively so. The reality is pure exploitation. She's pocketing the money meant to feed these children and leaving them to starve.
It's shocking that Oliver even makes it to his 9th birthday. Dickens presents it as almost a miracle, a testament to just how many children didn't survive.
Absolutely. And even when he's removed from that awful place, it's not a happy rescue, is it?
No, Mr. Bumble, the parish beadle, he's not exactly a hero.
Not at all. He's this pompous, greedy figure who cares more about his own importance than the welfare of these children.
But Oliver cries when he leaves Mrs. Mann's, even though she was so cruel to him.
It's heartbreaking. It shows the terrible instability he's experienced. Even neglect was familiar, the only home he knew.
And Bumble, he represents something more, doesn't he?
He does. He embodies this entire system of parish governance, where self-interest often came before the needs of the poor.
It's important for our listeners to understand that the workhouse wasn't just a shelter. It was intentionally designed to be awful.
A deterrent, really, discouraging people from seeking help. It reflects a harsh societal view of poverty.
And the parish beadle was, this local official responsible for the poor.
A position ripe for abuse, as we see with Bumble.
Then you have the workhouse itself. Gruel 3 times a day, the occasional onion, half a roll on Sundays.
Constant hunger, desperation. You can practically feel it, right?
Well, the boys are so desperate, they play this grim game to decide who will risk asking for more food.
And then Oliver, driven by that shared hunger, he utters those now famous words, "Please, sir, I want some more."
It's such a simple request, but the reaction is insane.
The master is shocked. The workhouse board declares that boy will be hanged someday.
Just for asking for more food, it's outrageous.
It reveals this deep-seated fear of the poor, this tendency to criminalize their basic needs.
Any sign of defiance, any deviation from absolute submission was seen as wickedness. Why do you think that fear was so prevalent back then?
Well, it's complex. There was this underlying anxiety about social unrest, about the poor rising up against the established order.
So asking for more gruel was seen as a threat.
In a way, yes. It challenged the power dynamics, the idea that the poor should be grateful for whatever scraps they were given.
And the consequences for Oliver are immediate and brutal. Solitary confinement, a public whipping.
And then he's put up for sale. £5. Just like an unwanted object.
It's dehumanizing. And it seems like there's a progression, isn't there? From the general neglect of the workhouse to this more focused cruelty at Mrs. Mann's, then being sold off.
You're right. It highlights the spectrum of exploitation within the very systems meant to care for the poor.
So he ends up apprenticed to Mr. Sowerberry, the undertaker.
Another bleak situation. Mrs. Sowerberry is especially cruel, offering him food her dog rejected.
And he sleeps among coffins. Dickens really emphasizes the morbid atmosphere, doesn't he?
He does. It's like a constant reminder of death, of this oppressive reality he's trapped in.
And then there's Noah Claypole, another charity boy, but now he has someone he can look down on.
Dickens' narrator makes this cutting remark about beautiful human nature at that moment.
It's so cynical, but so true. It shows how easily people, even those who have suffered, can perpetuate cruelty when they have a chance to feel superior.
And Mr. Sowerberry decides to use Oliver at children's funerals because of his naturally sad look.
Exploiting his misery, literally making a profit from it.
Exactly. It raises a disturbing question about how society commodifies suffering, especially the suffering of the vulnerable.
So Oliver has endured so much, but then we see a glimmer of defiance. He runs away to London.
What finally pushes him over the edge is Noah's cruelty. The insults about Oliver's mother, calling her a criminal who would have been hanged.
It cuts deep. He lashes out at Noah in this sudden burst of anger.
It's a huge turning point. This quiet, submissive boy finally fights back.
It shows the injustice he's internalized, the pent-up rage. Do you think that's when Oliver realizes he can resist, even just a little?
Perhaps. Of course, the Sowerberries punish him even more, but something has changed. He doesn't cry this time. It's a silent rebellion.
And that night, he makes the decision to run away, this 70-mile journey to London.
It's a testament to his desperation. Dickens emphasizes how little help he receives, how indifferent society is to this runaway boy.
Those two people who offer him food, they stand out so much because they're the exception.
Without them, he would have died. It's made very clear.
He arrives in Barnet, exhausted, injured, and then he meets the artful Dodger.
That's a memorable introduction.
Yeah.
Short, bow-legged, those sharp, ugly eyes, the oversized coat, the jaunty hat.
Dickens really creates vivid characters, even the morally ambiguous ones. Why do you think that is?
It makes them more real, more human, even if their actions are questionable. It adds a layer of complexity, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And Dodger's offer to take Oliver to London to stay with this jolly gentleman, it must have sounded so tempting.
Especially to someone who's only known cruelty and hardship. He has no idea what he's getting into.
And London itself is described as this overwhelming, filthy place, the air thick with stench.
A stark contrast to the countryside he's just left.
Then he meets Fagin in that squalid room, filled with smoke and young boys smoking pipes, drinking.
It's like entering a different world, a darker realm. And Fagin himself, with that villainous-looking face, those matted red curls, not exactly jolly, is he?
Not at all. And the boys help Oliver by emptying his pockets. It's chilling.
Very subtle, isn't it? They introduce him to their way of life right away.
And then Oliver sees Fagin's hidden stash of watches and jewels, this stark contrast with the poverty around them.
And Fagin tries to explain it away, saying it's his only security for old age.
Such a blatant lie. But Oliver, in his innocence, can't quite grasp the deception.
It establishes Fagin's manipulative nature right away, the distorted morals of this criminal world.
And then there's that game they play, picking Fagin's pockets. He encourages it.
It's like training, but disguised as a game, normalizing crime from a very young age.
It makes you wonder about the psychological impact on these boys.
We also meet Nancy in this scene. Lively, cheerful, but her clothes are messy.
Oliver thinks she's nice. It's an interesting detail, especially knowing what happens to her later.
Right. And despite his eagerness to learn, to fit in, Oliver still has no idea what their work really is.
His innocence is heartbreaking, which leads us to his introduction to crime.
Going out with the Dodger and Charlie Bates, he witnesses his first theft. The Dodger steals a silk handkerchief from Mr. Brownlow.
So smooth, so
For
practiced.
Oliver, it's a moment of realization and terror. He finally understands what's going on.
And then as he runs away in panic, he's wrongly accused of the theft himself.
It shows how easily poverty was equated with guilt.
Mr. Brownlow is suspicious, understandably, but the bookseller steps in, vouches for Oliver.
A moment of unexpected honesty that changes everything.
Oliver collapses, and Mr. Brownlow takes him in. It's such a dramatic shift.
The kindness he experiences at Mr. Brownlow's house is a complete contrast to everything he's known.
Even the food is shocking to him. He's so unused to a decent meal.
Mr. Brownlow is genuinely moved by Oliver's recovery. There's a real compassion there.
And then there's that striking resemblance between Oliver and the portrait in Mr. Brownlow's house.
It hints at a hidden connection, a mystery about Oliver's past that Dickens will unravel later.
Meanwhile, back at Fagin's, there's panic and anger about Oliver's capture.
The Dodger seems almost defiant towards Fagin. There's a hint of rebellion there.
And then we meet Bill Sykes, this menacing figure. Fagin's worried that Oliver will talk.
It shows the danger of their situation, the precariousness of their criminal enterprise.
Oliver recovers. Mr. Brownlow buys him new clothes. There's a sense of hope, however fragile.
But then Oliver's sent on an errand to return some books to the bookseller.
And a visitor at Mr. Brownlow's makes a bet that Oliver won't come back.
He assumes Oliver will return to his old friends, the thieves. It's that deep-seated societal distrust again.
Despite Mr. Brownlow's faith in Oliver, that casual assumption speaks volumes.
The waiting, the growing darkness outside, it builds the tension. It forces us to confront that prejudice, the assumption that poverty and crime are inseparable.
So in these early chapters, we see Oliver go through so much. The horrors of the workhouse, the baby farm, the deceptive allure of the criminal underworld.
Just as he finds a glimmer of hope, his past and those forces against him threaten to pull him back down.
It really makes you think about how easily a life can be shaped by such harsh circumstances.
And it's your curiosity, your willingness to explore these difficult stories that allows us to have this conversation.
To unpack these events, to understand Dickens' social commentary.
And it leads us to some crucial questions. What could have changed Oliver's fate?
What does his story tell us about our responsibility to the most vulnerable in society?
These are issues that resonate even today. It's a work of fiction, but it reflects enduring truths.
Food for thought, indeed.